V, you in there?
My head. So what now?
Now, you find out what it is you need to do.
A thing of beauty, I know.
You've never backed down from anything in your life, even when you maybe should have.
It is death that has cheated you.
If you gotta kill, kill. If you gotta burn it all to the ground, then let it burn.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Keefy75 Games. Keefy75 here, and we are going to discuss a little article I just came in contact with, and it's about CyberPunk and how the game has launched, its current state, and what's going to happen with it, and just look at The Witcher 3 as well, and how that launched, and the state that game was in when it launched, and where it is now, and to just take in consideration that, yes, I understand games shouldn't launch broken, but we're in a kind of a new day and age where games are all run on servers now, whereas the games used to be run on the disk or on the chip it was in, and there was really no way of fixing things. The way they do it now is they make the game, and of course there's going to be minor bugs and glitches when it releases, and it will be fixed in time, but when a game launches for numerous different console generations, I'm pretty sure that it's probably really difficult for them to make it run perfectly on every single console, especially when one's underpowered to the point where the game is either going to run or it's not. I get it. Do I agree with it? Probably not. The worst problem I see that happened with CD Projekt Red is that they lied about the performance on the last gen consoles. Other than that, if they were just honest with everybody, this might have went a whole different way. You know, they might have said, hey, this game is optimized pretty much for PC and next gen consoles. It's not going to run that great on last gen for a few weeks until we dial it in, and just came out and told the truth about it first. It may have been more well received than it is now. You guys understand what I'm saying? But anyways, let's not waste any more time. Please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and let's just jump right into this video and let's get it. Alright, so CyberPunk 2077 is buggy. Like The Witcher 3 before it, bugs aren't the problem. Fans are annoyed about the bugs in CyberPunk 2077, and rightfully so. However, the problem runs far deeper than that. Alright, so this article was done by Cyan Mayer 18 hours ago, and it just shows a little bit of a comparison between CyberPunk 2077's graphics and The Witcher 3's graphics. And it goes in to say, bear with me for a second before you jump at my throat. Teeth barred over a headline. I firmly believe that the way CD Projekt executives handled the launch of CyberPunk 2077, especially on last-gen consoles, was deceptive, disingenuous, and downright dirty. Fans had no idea that they were paying a lot of money for something that was largely defective, and given that the game had already been delayed 3 times, it seems as if the higher-ups in Hugo Boss suits just wanted to push it out before Christmas to capitalize on its holiday sales. Whether it was functional or not, we were only allowed to review CyberPunk 2077 on PC. Even critics had no idea how the game performed on the console, which was true. If you guys remember, it was only being reviewed on PC, and people who were reviewing it on console were only allowed to use, like, you know, launch trailer footage and stuff like that. They weren't allowed to use their own gameplay, and if they did, it got copyright strike to take down. Moving along, goes in to say, let's address another thing right off the bat. CD Projekt Red developers were forced to crunch on this game. Now, seeing the state it launched in, it's pretty clear that this accomplished nothing other than making the lives of the people who worked on it more difficult. It clearly needed more work anyway. Again, a rushed game was shipped before Christmas without concern for the well-being and intentions of its developers, as opposed to prioritizing their mental health while working reasonable hours along a more realistic launch trajectory. Every facet of this game is, in context, absurd. It proves the negative impact strength of crunch, bureaucracy, executive pressure, and dishonest presentation all at once. It is the biggest argument against itself that could possibly be made, which is why it's worth looking back at The Witcher 3. That brings us to this picture. See Roach, looks like there's two horses in one here. You got Gerald that's standing in front of him with The Witcher 3. And it says, The Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time, and millions of people all over the world share that sentiment. It's gone down as one of the most iconic and influential RPGs ever made, and for a good reason. Its design has been adopted as a blueprint for a significant amount of blockbuster open-world fantasy games that have been developed since. And even now, 5 years later, people are still playing it for the first time and falling in love with its gritty and gorgeous world. I'm not sure if you remember this, but The Witcher 3 wasn't quite the same game as it is now back at launch. It has a Metacritic score of 93 for the PC version, which is not far detached from Cyberpunk's 2077's clean and cool 90. But like Cyberpunk, it was an evidently excellent game that wasn't quite finished. Then it says, let's recount some of the main issues that plagued The Witcher 3 at launch. It had a dodgy frame rate, all kinds of objects absurdly clipped through each other, it crashed constantly, and the control system was so unintuitive that movement functionally received a complete overhaul. A quick look on Reddit will show you that people remember characters randomly T-posing while bandits, for some weird reason, often became totally invincible. It took a few months and several post-launch patches for The Witcher 3 to become the world-renowned game we know today. I expect Cyberpunk 2077 to benefit from a similar phenomenon, although that is not a good thing. Alright, so then we get into the related digital goodies, in-game rewards, and the best place to buy Cyberpunk 2077. You see crunch reports emerge during development of The Witcher 3 as well. One former employee reportedly crunched while earning just $430 per month. When CD Projekt finally opened up about mandatory crunch on Cyberpunk 2077, it said that it would be more humane this time. The sentiment was soon dropped in the shitter once CD Projekt CEO said that the crunch was not that bad, before almost immediately apologizing for this statement being utterly bad. Honestly, it's no surprise that we didn't see another clearly much needed delay, given that CD Projekt stock dropped by 25% following the last one. It's also worth remembering that 10% of CD Projekt's annual profits are distributed among its employees, some of whom may have wanted to see Cyberpunk's launch this year as well. However, I have spoken with people at the studio before, and the only impression I have ever gotten is that they want to ship games that are as good as they can possibly be. I don't believe for a second that these devs want to ship a broken game. It is so obviously an executive decision, and I agree with that. I really do. Like the mandatory crunch the devs are forced to undergo that they have no control over. Guys, this is very important. When the blame is placed on, let's just say, the developers themselves, I believe that this is a true statement. That the devs worked really hard for this. They were being forced, they were being pushed, they were just being like, you know, that's what a crunch is. You mandatory overtime until the game's finished, or you do this, you do that. And I'm sure every one of these devs that actually worked on the game didn't want this to release. This came from higher ups. This came from the board of directors of CD Projekt Red saying, this game has been delayed 3 times already. We owe money. All our investors are backing out. We need to get this game out and get it out now regardless, and we'll fix it as we go. That's exactly what happened here. So anyways, we get this picture of this would be someone's character, I believe, that they made up. Then it says, this is the main reason I'm writing this piece. I want you to look at The Witcher 3, and regardless of how you feel about it, recognize its status in the industry. Even if you dislike the combat, or aren't into fantasy, or reckon the camera angles can be a bit persnickety, it's a great game that is revered all over the world, and that's largely because the devs that worked on it are immensely talented people. When you play Cyberpunk 2077 and it is cooperating with you, you can see a lot of that same talent shining through, especially in the writing of the characters like Judy Alvarez and Panem Palma. The world, when it's not full of 100 of the same NPC models walking around in circles on last-gen consoles, is alive and functional and perfectly balanced in terms of being full and empty depending on where you are at what time, which is very true. I've had that same experience. The game is very, very, very nicely populated. And that's the problem. The aspects are there, which prove that the developers haven't lost their touch. But, once again, the people above them have clearly launched a game that they weren't finished working on, and now they will be forced to work even more until it's ready. We already know that updates fixing the issues players are currently experiencing are scheduled for as far into the future as February. And yet February is so close that it seems rectifying everything that is wrong with this game by then is an impossible task. 2 more months of crunch, at least, for a game that people already have but can't play, but want to play because they know what it could have been and probably will be down the line. This is the exact same thing that happened with The Witcher 3, except it's even more pronounced and obnoxiously visible this time around. And we go into, you get the picture of, Cyberpunk's character menu screen here. This is, I love The Witcher 3. And I am enjoying CyberPunk 2077 a lot, as well am I. But stating that bugs are the issue and calling it a day is very naive. Bugs are a minor byproduct of the major problem that individual people in the studio, no matter how much they love their job and how passionate they are being completely undermined and exploited by executives who don't care about their passions unless they turn a profit, which Cyberpunk 2077 already has. By X time on Y date. I think today's hollow statement reflects that too. Unless you want to cough up for a PS5, Xbox Series X, or a high-end PC, you can either refund Cyberpunk 2077 until the end of the week, or wait until February for the patches to come in. I guess you could do either one of those, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you pre-ordered this or bought it digitally from the PlayStation Store, if you have ever in the past contacted Sony for a refund for a digital game, and they gave you one already, I can almost guarantee they are not going to give you another. As far as I know, their policy right now is any digital game that you buy and download and stop playing, you own it. And the only way they give you a digital refund on any game is their policy normally is they give you one, no questions asked. After that, they're going to tell you there's nothing they can do about it. And I understand and I agree this policy needs to be changed. When you buy anything, when you buy a product off of anybody selling a product, it should, some way or another, be backed with some sort of warranty, whether it's through the developers, whether it's through the manufacturer, whether it's through whoever's selling it. There should be some way to be able to make things right that went wrong somewhere if they did. Agreed? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because I know this is going to be a mixed bag of dog shit. People are going to think things, and we all feel differently about the game, and that's okay. We're allowed to. But I'm just here trying to give you guys, what's really going on. In this day of age, this is going to be more common than not. Going forward, we're going to see a lot of games come out pretty much done, but they're going to need, fine-tuning once they're already out. With all that being said, let's keep moving here. But people know how good The Witcher 3 is, and so a lot of players will probably hold on to their copies instead of having to deal with the relentless bureaucracy imbued in platform-specific refund policies. The problem is that this has happened all over again. I'm not one to speak for the devs, who are more than welcome to put as many hours into something as they like, but the fact that this launch is significantly more problematic than that of The Witcher 3 proves one of the most inherent flaws of crunch culture, outside of its lack of humanity, which is this: if you crunch on a game for higher-ups, the next production cycle will include more work over less time. There are still only 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week, so either people crunch more or a game is delayed until it is released in a broken state while console reviews are forcibly withheld from consumers. And it's a sad story, really, at the end of the day. But again, it's wrong. It shouldn't have been done. What I can say is it will be fixed. I can guarantee it will be fixed. Is it right? No, it's not. Should you go and sell your copy of Cyberpunk? Well, honestly, guys, if you bought the game because you wanted to buy it to enjoy the game and you wanted to play it, but you really just can't right now, if it's that bad on your console where it's unplayable, which I don't know how many people are actually not able to play it. I know it was unplayable for a little while, but I believe after the last patch, it's halfway decent. Even if you have the game, you spent a little bit of time on it and you like it, keep it. Trust me. This game will become a masterpiece. That I am sure of. CD Projekt Red is still CD Projekt Red, okay? And I'm not sticking up for them. The people that made this game, the devs, the individual people that poured their heart and souls into this game, do it for them, not for the higher-ups in the office with the suits on that just made a decision without thinking it over clearly. Okay, guys? So keep that in mind. And as always, I will leave a link to this website in my description below so you guys can take a look at this, click on any links that you may want to look into further, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click the like button. It helps my channel so much. Just to click on the like, you wouldn't believe how much it helps. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'm also still pushing for the 500 subscribers, guys. We're getting so close. Every week, every day, I gain subscribers. Thank you so much. Let's keep pushing. Once I hit that 500, I will run that giveaway. So you guys, I will see you all in the next one. I am Keefy75, and peace.